Hello everyone! There is a popular series on my channel that has gone on for 4 years of my life. It helped me gain so many YouTube friends and helped inspire some other people to start doing content because of mine. That being my SpongeBob Plush series, and I finally want to go into full detail about how I got this far.
Oh, good morning, Patrick. Oh, good morning, SpongeBob.
When I look back to the beginning of this decade, when I was a lot younger, we were still going through the pandemic and all the hard situations going on in my life with school and that. Doing this series, I thought to myself, why not give it a go and see how it pays out? But little did I know it would become this 4-year long journey. I think that's something to just be so proud of. It's been a magical 4-year journey, and I want to thank all of the people who have given me inspiration and encouragement to keep the series going. I've been able to end the series in the way it should be, and that is something I don't think any other Plush YouTuber had done during that era.
I've always learned something since our friendship began.
Oh really? And what's that?
I learned not just to care about cookies and rocks all the time, but to care about those I've always had right beside me, including Gary.
Wow. Really, for me, it was like, okay, how do I end this series and it be comfortable for you guys and be the right send-off? This story begins, though, on my 12th birthday in 2019, when I got my hands on my first ever SpongeBob plush with a pair of Gary slippers to go with it. And this was basically the era that I loved the show more than ever, and you could tell by the delighted face in that picture just how proud I was at finally getting something like that for my birthday. And later during that year, I would also get something else to go for my collection, a whole load of SpongeBob figures.
It is a lovely day. It is March the 7th, and today it is the opening to the Krusty Krab.
I actually had the idea of starting a SpongeBob series when I was recreating all these SpongeBob episodes and movies with the SpongeBob figures I had and just me acting all the characters out myself.
I've been better than you for 26 months, and it'll be 27 tomorrow. Oh, that's it, SpongeBob self-brain. That's it.
But I knew while doing this, I could take it to the next level and post it to all of you guys, anyone on social media. But I wanted to do this with plushes because I didn't think it was right doing it with little small SpongeBob figures. It wasn't really going to work out in the way I wanted it to. Because I remember I was inspired by SpongeBob plush YouTubers and how much bigger their toys were compared to mine. And I realised that only SpongeBob was in the collection I had, along with the Gary slippers. So I knew that this wasn't the right time to start the series just yet. And also I didn't have any other social medias really, so I couldn't really start it at this point yet. Going into pandemic year was just one of the most nightmare things I've had in my life. Not being able to go out anywhere, meet up with any friends or family of mine, or just being able to do videos in public places, you know. It was just one of the most horrible years to take. And I don't think there'll be any other year that will be just as worse as 2020. But one thing that cheered me up in 2020 was when my friend got me the Patrick Star plush, the Alpha Group Patrick plush, which you see in my plush series nowadays, and it's the main Patrick plush, and it brought me a lot of joy realising I now had the 2 main SpongeBob characters for this series, and then I knew to myself, maybe it's now the time to start it, but maybe I'm not quite ready, you know. And then of course, we go into 2021, when I was starting this YouTube channel, and once it started and I got the first few videos up for you guys, I realised that it wasn't really working doing these normal chat video and gameplay videos. None of it was working, even for the 2 times I tried to do this. And so I realised there had to be something that I had to come up with that would grow this channel, and it would start getting YouTube recommending my channel a little bit more, you know, than it did back then. And then that was to finally start the SpongeBob Plush series I had in mind for nearly 2 years. But this series didn't just start because of me, guys. It actually started because I was inspired by a pretty popular plush YouTuber, that being Super Sponge Dude. I was mostly inspired by all of his easy SpongeBob videos and ideas he came up with, you know. And I thought this was the perfect idea and way these characters could probably act to kick off this series. At least that's what I think I remember my mind going through when I started the series. And so on the night of the 10th of June 2021, I went ahead and recorded the first ever SpongeBob plush video of mine in my parents' room though, guys, and it wasn't even in this place, it was in a different place when this series started. And this basically marked the start of a big 4-year-long chapter of my life that I did not even think was possible, you know.
Here we are, SpongeBob. Wow, that package is big. It is SpongeBob, and that means there's going to be something big inside.
Uploading this first ever plush YouTube video was a time when I only had 7 subscribers. I was setting it up like 40 minutes later than the usual schedule I wanted it setting up, for 4 o'clock UK time that was, and it got its premiere, and I remember nobody watching it. It was just sitting there and nobody would watch it, but it would just premiere on its own with maybe my parents watching it. But little did we know what was going to happen from that point onwards. And so the plan after this first SpongeBob plush video went up was to do these videos every Saturday for the rest of 2021 to see what result the channel would get for doing this series, you know. And during this era, it was pretty simple, you know, to do these videos. They would be small 6-minute videos that were very little to edit, you know, and the characters had a very happy mood on each other. This would also be when I got my Squidward plush during this era for these videos from that point onwards. And yeah, it was just a pretty simple and easy era for the channel. But one of the hardest times in this era, guys, was the fact that I couldn't do many of these plush videos outside because the garden area of the old flat I lived in was just filled with cars, you know. It was just a car parking area, so no open space garden area to do this at. And I also didn't have a balcony in the house I was living in this flat, which was also one of the hardest reasons to get through the pandemic, guys. So yeah. But the result I had at the end of 2021 for doing most of these indoor plush videos and simple ideas was I got a total of 33 subscribers and nearly 6,000 viewers, which was quite a pleasing result for me, I'm not going to lie. I was pleased by that 14-year-old me, but when I look back on it now, it isn't as good as I was expecting, you know. And so it was also hard to take back then because I wasn't getting any YouTubers commenting on those videos back then in the 2021 era. All I had comments from were from my family, you know. If they had YouTube accounts, they were the only people who would comment on these videos and give me some support in some way, you know. I had no other YouTubers commenting. And so this is when I felt like, what if the series isn't working, you know, and getting anyone's attention? So then that's when I had the plan to do this series for another year and to see if it would work out. And if it didn't work out for another whole year and I was doing this for nobody but my family, the series was just going to come to an end. So this is the era when I got my hands on my Mr. Krabs plush for Christmas. And you can probably tell I'm wearing a different top because I couldn't record all of this on the same day. But the plan during this era was to end the series during Christmas 2022. That was the original plan. There was going to be a big Christmas finale to see out this series if I wasn't to get any YouTube friends of mine commenting on the videos, that was. But then, as we went into the year, that plan immediately changed when I realised I was getting comments from a familiar YouTuber on my channel, Hader, and from February 2022 onwards, he would literally just help me by supporting the series and giving me comments literally every single week, literally every time I made a new video. And this is when I realised to myself, maybe this might actually be working. Maybe this isn't the time to stop it, you know? And then, of course, there were other things I was thinking to my mind that 15-year-old me by this point, during that era, guys, was thinking to himself that he had done this Plush series for the past year with basic and easy ideas, you know, where the characters are just having fun with each other in a happy mood. But this is when I realised to myself, maybe it's about time I start making the characters a bit dumb, you know, so the videos could be a bit more funnier. And so I did this with characters like Patrick, and here are some examples.
Patrick, did you watch movies all night? Yup. Oh, I went past 3 red lights and then I crashed into Sandy and Squidward's cars. Right, SpongeBob said I need to pack everything in the house. Ah! What? Patrick, what are you doing? Ow! Get us out! What are you doing? Ooh.
And while we're on the subject of that last clip, guys, yes, during this era, this is when we had our house move. And this was quite a big moment for me because I knew this could be a once-in-a-lifetime moment to do some Plush videos of these characters moving house along with me. But I didn't know if it was going to go and work out in the way it did, you know, like you guys have seen now. Because obviously we had removal men coming in and out of the house on that day, which made it quite hard to just record one cutscene after another, you know. Some cutscenes would have been recorded the day before our house move, and some on the actual day, and even some the day after, so it wasn't always easy to record it, I'm not going to lie guys, especially when you had them coming in and out. But the way it turned out, in a situation I was in like that, is honestly insane. But can we also not forget that during this time, when I was doing this house move, I also had a few other various YouTube friends support me with this 2-part moving house series, and I just couldn't believe it, you know. I thought to myself by this point, moving into a new house, a new chapter, this might be a new chapter for this Plush series, and so I kept it going, and I realised to myself by this point, there's no plan in stopping this series anytime soon, or even at Christmas. What is the point by this point? And as the time went on, I knew that we had this big garden area outside this new place, guys, and I wanted to record a various amount of Plush videos out there, but the only difficulty I had with that was there could be some of my neighbours popping outside at one point or another, and luckily doing those videos back then, I didn't really have any problems. The only difficulty I had was when I did this one Plush video, SpongeBob and the Big Fall Day, when I was recording where these trees are in my driveway basically, and I just had people come in and out, so cutscenes were quite hard to do for that. But besides that, videos were pretty easy honestly. Despite the length of them were getting a little bit bigger during that era, I knew to myself that maybe the series is working, maybe it is actually getting recommended to YouTubers after all. So you know what? Let's keep it going, see how much further we can take it, because it got me well over 100 subscribers and a decent amount of YouTube friends, but maybe there was more to come. Wow guys, where to even start with this 2023 era of the series? It's worth pointing out though that I said on my last video of 2022, I wanted the 2023 era of the channel to not only be the best, but also be the best for the series itself. And it couldn't be more true, guys. It couldn't be more true.
2023 is going to be the best year for the channel. You watch, guys.
But I remember during this era, I not only wanted to change the schedule for the series itself, but I also wanted to make it so the characters would act basically dumb in my Plush videos every single week, instead of maybe being kind one week and then being dumb again the following week. I wanted this dumb plot idea basically for every single Plush video going forward, you know, just to make it more funnier. And because I was growing up by that point, like I said, I knew that there was probably something else that I could do with this series to make it more funnier. And yeah, that's when I came up with making these videos a bit more funnier by, yeah, making the characters more dumb. And by doing this, it seemed to get more viewers' attention on YouTube, honestly. Despite, though, the only change I had to do with this is because of these stories and plots I came up with Plush videos from this point onwards, after January 2023, I would have to change the length of the videos from 6-minute Plush videos to 10-minute Plush videos, just so I could be able to fit almost every single little clip I wanted into the video, instead of rushing it about, you know, and making it to fit it all into just a small 6-minute video. So yeah, that's when it all changed into 10 minutes, and I felt more comfortable with that, I'm not going to lie. There have even been videos less than that, so like 8 minutes if I've had a smaller idea. But yeah, it's definitely helped because during that era, I had a lot more longer but harder ideas to come up with for the series. But it's not like I was tired of it, if I'm honest, guys. I found them to be pretty fun to make.
Everything is all peaceful now. I might as well watch some lovely TV. Wow!
And not only that, I also ended up gaining about 10 to 15 new YouTube friends in that era, which made me think to myself, this is perfect. The channel is now active more than I thought, you know, and literally more than ever. So there was no point in just leaving the series behind. Let's keep creating it, even if I have a different schedule for the series now and not doing it every single Saturday, because it's quite tiring to do it all the time. Let's keep doing it as long as I can and see how far it can still take me, because I had so many YouTube friends by this point, guys, and it made me think to myself, I really want to show how much my YouTube friends really mean to me. And that's when I had an idea of, during this era by the way, guys, that I wanted to come up with a Plush video that could star some of my YouTube friends in it. And that is when, during summer of 2023, I came up with the idea of having you guys voice act in my 300 sub special. But in order to do something like this, I was going to have to write a script of what I wanted the story to be about, you know, and I wanted it to be something big, of course. But then I was thinking to myself, what kind of big location in this outside world can we film this special at to make it extra special for you all? And so I realised while figuring this out that there wasn't really any big places or private places I could go to film this at, because the town I live in, guys, has a lot of people coming in and out, you know, all the time. And if I went in town and just tried to film, I felt that would just be too distracting, just bringing so many plushes while being interrupted by people of the public or just people walking by. So I had an idea of filming an arcade special again, but I thought that was a bad idea because arcade videos seem to be a lot more louder, because a lot of noise takes place in an arcade, and I felt doing that would probably be bad because you wouldn't be able to hear any voice lines probably from any of my voice actors, or at least it would be quite hard to tell what they're saying because all of the noise happening in the arcade would be too distracting. So then the pressure was on, what could I come up with, or what could I figure out, you know, because I would have probably had to come up with a regular special in this house again if I couldn't come up with anything, you know. The 300 sub special and this voice acting idea I had may have not happened, guys, if I didn't come up with an idea on time, because I knew I was approaching 300 subs fast. But then I knew there was this one location in my town, or at least close to it, where my auntie lives, and it's actually where I used to live, guys, in the early 2010s, that features a woods area, and I thought it was one of the most easiest and most private places to film a video like that at, because barely anyone goes in that woods, and I thought to myself, you know what, let's go ahead and do it. We're going to keep that as the main feature for the special and see where it takes us. But then, before I could film any of that, guys, I had to write the script. So I spent a good load of weeks typing a lot of different ideas for one character and another to have. What could Mr. Krabs be saying? Oh! But writing the script wasn't that hard, I won't lie to you all, compared to the finale script, which we'll get into later. It had some pretty interesting ideas, maybe not as funny as I wanted, but it got the job done pretty well. I did spend quite a few weeks though on preparing it, despite some of the hard times I had figuring out, oh, what is this guy going to say, or what would make this funnier, you know. But it got done in the end. I sent the script out to you all, and then we had pretty much another month and a half, I'm guessing, of finding voice actors for this special, and it wasn't as hard as I thought. And then after that, came the time I hit 300 subs and we went to film this special in the woods. And I don't have any behind the scenes of this, by the way, sadly, guys. But it was pretty much an impossible plush video to make. It took me at least 2 hours to get this all sorted and done. When you think about the fact I had to have my other phone, which I had the script written on, I had to have the script beside me, and it was impossible, you know. Especially when you have to lean over as well for all those hours just to film it. It's just insane. But I'm really proud of the result of the video though, and how much you guys really loved it.
I don't think there's anywhere to get out of these woods.
What? So we are trapped here in this place for the rest of our lives?
Well, I don't have to worry because I lived through my whole life already.
So I'll never be able to watch TV again. Why?
Oh, don't worry, guys.
And then literally a few weeks later, I hit my 100th SpongeBob plush video, and I had to come up with another funny idea, you know, to make it extra special. So I had that food eating contest idea, and I'm going to be honest with you all, I wasn't that pleased with it, just because I felt there could have been a bigger and better idea for the special. But as long as you guys loved it, that's all I'm proud of. And I remember there being so many reactions, both that 100th plush video and the 300 sub special, where you guys found them insane and you loved it. And compare that, guys, to when I premiered my first ever plush video, when I had nobody watching the premiere. I just felt like this was a dream come true by this point. But after that 100th plush video, guys, I had a little worry because I was running out of ideas to come up with to continue this plush series. And then I was realising to myself, maybe it's time to start writing the finale script of this series and do the voice acting routine all over again, you know, but with a bigger story. But I wasn't really ready for it. But from that point, I just felt like there wasn't really many more ideas I had, so maybe now is the time. So that's when I went ahead, I think it was November or December of 2023, when I went ahead and prepared the finale script and came up with the idea of it straight away, Bikini Bottom's last mission, because I knew these characters were going to find out that they were going to die and they were going to have to find some way to survive. That was always going to be the plan for the plush series finale whenever it happened, and I thought it was going to have to take place in June 2024, guys. So that's when I went ahead and started writing the finale script. And I think we got to the point where we had the part where SpongeBob and Patrick woke up and they went to the Krusty Krab. But after that point, guys, things started to change once again. So starting another year of this SpongeBob plush series, guys, made me think like it was really growing my channel by this point by 300 plus more subs. So I'd written to about the part where Patrick arrived for the chum bucket on the finale script, and I thought to myself by this point, wait, I actually might have so many more ideas now to keep this plush series going for another year. Like, it's extraordinary how this plush series was, you know, becoming dead at first, and I had to write the finale script to the point where now I thought like, oh, it's alright, I can keep this going for another whole year. So then that's when I put the finale script to one side and kept it going. But then as we started another year of this series, I had more changes in mind for this series, and that included, guys, that I wanted to film these plush videos from this point onwards with my phone standing on something, because I was getting quite tired by this point, you know, filming these plush videos in every cutscene with my phone being in one hand, or even being in this angle with my arm just killing me by this point, and my other plushes just being in my other hand, you know. I really wanted to have both of my hands available by this point, but I realised that I didn't really have a tripod to do this, you know, because I originally tried to get a tripod for this series a few Christmases before this era, and I realised that the tripod was way too small for a phone like this, because yes, I was recording these videos with a phone like this back in the day, guys. So the other best option I had was to use something that I thought wasn't really the best, but it's the only best thing I've got really for something for my phone to stand on. This good old box, guys. But as the years have gone on, this box has been ripping apart, so rest in peace in the box, guys. But you may have recognised it from my SpongeBob plush video called Mr. Krabs and the Secret Box, I remember, from just at the beginning of 2024. And I thought this was perfect, just standing the phone on here, you know, being able to have both of my hands available and it just sitting here. But the only difficulty when doing this, guys, was I had to keep on leaning over, you know, to get to the plushes, you know, and make them be in the shot. And one other difficulty I had was trying to get my shirt out of the shot, guys, because that sometimes got into the shot of the cutscenes for these videos, so it wasn't always easy, you know, but I thought it was a good idea, so I kept doing it anyways. And so another idea I had to change this series about was, because I was tired of doing these plush videos for basically 4 or 5 Saturdays in a row, I came up with the plan to do these plush videos for basically 2 Saturdays in a row, then to take a break for 1 week and come back for another 2 Saturdays in a row and then another break. So that was the plan from that point onwards. And as the year went on, I collected more plushes for the collection, including Mario and Luigi, guys. Finally, I got my hands on them, guys, for the series. 2 iconic faces.
Oh, I got it, Luigi! Let's get out of here! Wait! At last! Come here, then!
But as the year went on, guys, I realised that I was losing a good amount of OGs from the 2022 days of this plush series, commenting on my videos regularly from this point, which was really upsetting, I'm not going to lie, guys. But also, from about mid-2024 onwards, I realised not only was I losing a lot of OGs, but I was also losing a lot of comments that I was getting, you know, regularly. I wasn't getting as many comments for these videos, you know, regularly nowadays. And it was not only just that, guys, but as mid-2024 went on, I started to feel pain just doing these plush videos every Saturday, you know, and just doing these 10-minute ideas, which would basically involve some items in my house that would have to be featured in the video, or me having to colour something in and use it for the video. I just couldn't take any more of that, you know, from this point, you know. But then this is when I realised I still had the finale script to write, you know. I had been leaving it behind for like 8 months or something like that. And, you know, I still had to get that done and sorted if I wanted to end this series in a good way, you know. So what I decided to do during September 2024 was to finally get back to writing the finale script and to not leave it aside anymore, you know, just to get on with it and finish it, you know. And so my goal was to try and finish it all off just before Christmas of 2024 and to not tell anybody about it. And so luckily enough, it worked out perfectly. But there were a lot of difficulties I had doing this script, guys. And mostly because college was in the way for most of this time doing this script. And it's not like my 300 sub special when I had the whole of the summer holidays to write it, you know, because college work was in the way for it, you know, doing the finale script. I had a lot of hard times figuring out, okay, where are these plushes going to head to next, you know, because I did have ideas while writing this script, guys, to recap on all of the biggest moments I had in this plush series. So then that's when I was writing big memories I had, which involved the 500 sub special I had, where these plushes went on a road trip and I tried to come up with another plan to make it funnier. And I also wanted to bring back some times when I had my 300 sub special and go back to the woods, you know. So I had some wood stuff put down into the script. But also, some other difficulties I had was trying to figure out, okay, what plushes can be the most evil ones for the plush series finale, you know? Because this is when I had to deep down into the plush series to see which characters were the most evil and which ones were the most nicest, you know? To make it, you know, perfect.
Wait! Mr. Bean and Patrick should act confused about what's going on. And then Sonic tries to finish it all off, yes. And then we get into the serious part.
So, it wasn't always easy, but 17-year-old me was not hanging around anymore. It got done in the end after a long 3 months of thinking and preparing. And yeah, I felt good and ready for the next few months and to get this series all sorted and done. And so the end of the SpongeBob plush series era was fast approaching. Finally, for me, at least that's what I thought. And so this is when I officially made the announcement to you all about the finale and all my hard work getting the script done. and how it would be taking place in June for you all, and how I needed to find some voice actors again for it, just like for my 300 sub special. But of course I couldn't pay all my attention on the finale just yet, you know, when I first made that announcement, because there were obviously other Plush videos that I had to make first leading up to the finale, you know, because my goal for that year was to reach 160 episodes of the whole SpongeBob Plush series, and yeah, leave it at that. I originally wanted to end it at 150, it would have been better, you know, but no, it ended up being 160 in the end, because of the longer length of the series, I guess. But yeah, and there were other specials I had to focus on, really, given that during this era, guys, I had hit 1,000 subscribers, and I wanted to show how much that really meant to me by not only making a special tribute video, but making a Plush video unlike any other subscriber special I'd really done. So yeah, and of course it involved pretty much a lot of my Plush characters. And it's crazy because it took me 3 long days to both film and edit that special for you all in time for its release on the 15th of February, especially when you could tell I was sweating in that coat from all of the cold weather outside, because yes, cold weather does make me hot, guys. But yeah, I remember though reactions coming in on that special, despite there weren't many, which is the problem I've had with this last bit of the Plush series, not many reactions. I saw some people were saying that they had high hopes for the finale, and I was delighted because I had bigger and better plans for the finale, of course, than the 1K sub special. But 2 months after I had released the announcement about the finale, guys, so around March of 2025, Rocco Boom, who is a YouTube friend of mine, was the only person who had sent his lines into me and had read the script, you know. And then I felt to myself, the pressure was on, you know, because I only had 2 more months left before the deadline for sending in lines, you know. People had to send their lines in before mid-May, you know, and so, like I said, the pressure was on to find as many YouTube friends as I possibly could to be in this finale, you know, and get their lines sorted, depending on if they wanted to play as the same characters or new characters, you know. I was just really under pressure, you know, but luckily I had a bit of luck as we went into spring, you know, when so many people were up for the role. Even if it was a lot of new people and weren't many OGs, I'm still delighted they decided to play a role, you know, because if they didn't reach out to me, I don't think the finale would have been as good as I think it has been, you know, with a total of 12 voice actors, 2 less than the 300 sub special, but it's more than I thought, you know. I could have just had 5 and it wouldn't have been as exciting. So again, I thank every single participant of the finale for being up for the role for it, because I am just delighted we were able to find some people for this special. And of course, guys, once the deadline had happened for you all to send your lines into me from mid-May onwards, that's when I started to finally film the last ever SpongeBob Plush video of mine, which it was an absolutely painful 4 weeks for me, both filming and editing it, especially in the hot summer weather, guys. But of course it had to be done, you know, if I wanted the series to go out in the way it did, of course. Editing all of the lines together was also something extremely painful, you know, especially when there'd be times I'd be 2 seconds short and I'd have to edit it over and over again. It was painful. But the more further I got into editing this, the more closer I got to finally finishing the series and it being published for you all. And then of course, guys, it all ended in mid-June once I got it posted, and this is how it went down.
And without Plankton and Beaky, I stay sure to have no more complaints from anyone, unless I end up doing some nonsense.
Yep, crazy, life-changing, but unbelievable. And that, guys, officially marked the end of my whole SpongeBob Plush series. But you know, I'm happy that it's all over, because now I don't have to worry about getting up every Saturday morning to spend like 4 or 5 hours every Saturday filming these videos and editing them all together with hundreds of my plushes, or going in one room or another in this house, you know, to bring so many plushes with me. It feels so good to not do that anymore. And even going outside, you know, in either hot or cold weather, I'm pleased by it now. And to finally be moving on to my SpongeBob Plush short series, which is something that I think is more suitable for me, because it only makes me spend like half an hour of my day making the videos, and they're a lot easier to get done and sorted. But honestly, I can't imagine my channel growing without the series. It's given me a 4-year journey, more than I thought was possible. And it's made me appreciate the life and experience I've had over the last couple of years. Not just from creating these plush videos, but meeting so many of you guys throughout it. And you guys making your own plush content because of mine. I'm just so thankful for it all, I'm not going to lie. And it'll just be something to look back on, you know, and to enjoy. But guys, the whole reason I started this plush series was because I had no other ideas of what series to create on YouTube. So I wanted to make a series of plush videos that you guys could enjoy, you know, whether they had been easy ideas or hard ideas. I didn't want my plushes just sitting there, you know. And I feel so grateful and thankful for just everything that's been given on the series, you know. Because during this series I had 30 subscribers for the first year it existed, but I kept on doing it because I loved it so much, you know. But it is time for me to move on now and make content that is much more easier, like my SpongeBob Plush short series. So once again, I thank you all so much for sticking with me during the series and for making it more than I thought was possible. Thank you so much.